Hi guys, and welcome back to our podcast. Today we've got two very special guests, and you will be dealing with them probably both if you became a client of ours. But I've got the lovely Adriana and lovely Pia, or Maître Pia de Saint Laurent, should I say, as well. And of course, you're also a lawyer, but in Colombia. So
that's correct.
We should hablo español, or maybe not, or French.
Sí, es correcto.
Es correcto. Vale, bueno. So all of us here today work within the team French Connections, but I wanted to take a bit of time to introduce you, and specifically you two, because, well, guess what? You deal with the biggest things that people are worried about, visas, and with all of the application around the visa aspect as well, but also residency applications, and sometimes some other far-fetched things that I will send over to Pia. But we work from two separate offices, really. Pia, you're based in London, although you're an avocate à la Cour de Paris. But however, Adriana, you're working from our Paris office and dealing with French Connections clients on a daily basis. So you're one of the account managers that they will deal with when we're doing onboarding. Let's start maybe with Adriana. And do you want to explain to our audience what we would do for somebody's regular visa application with French Connections? How do we go about doing that?
So once the client land into French Connections, they get in contact with me. They get presented by email, and there they will know who is the manager of their account, let's say. So that's going to be me or one of the girls that works in the team. Girl power, basically. Yes. And then they will have a form they will have to fill with information related to the applicants of the visa, and we will get in touch with them. We either make a video call to get an introduction so they can be more comfortable, they get to see who are they dealing with, and we explain a little bit how it goes. So basically we make all the list of documents they need to bring. We check them out, then we help them fill the form for the visa. And if there's like any information missing or maybe any recommendation to make their process easier, then we will talk about that. And we will send them the form so they can give them a final review. Then together we make another video call with the client and myself or one of the girls to set the appointment for the visa according to their needs. So they can see the available dates and choose the one that suits them better. And then they're sent a list of documents. They have a call with you. The
point of the call, the final call, is this preparation, because often clients will feed back information to me. We've got so many people going through the process, and it's just sometimes useful to know what you're going to be asked, or where you're going to sit, or what are you allowed to take into the appointment with you. And that final stage of preparation, I think, is like really crucial for people to feel
more comfortable, to feel like they're going in the right direction.
Sure.
And then once they got their appointment and they got their passports back, we ask them to send us a picture of the visa. And once the client arrived to France, we validate their visa. Sure. And then we have a move forward process about the capital or the
of course, and then we take of the other parts.
Basically, what I do is the visa for visitors, because the more complex cases are work with Pia.
Yeah.
But otherwise, or we work together
and you do
sometimes.
Residency as well for us.
Yeah, and the renovations, and also if maybe a client needs to set a company in France, then that's what we do. They help them to create their society or transform it, and some other démarche.
Yeah, all of the kind of legal bits. It's interesting as well. I mean, that obviously Juliet, that you've already potentially seen on this podcast, will be working with all the girls and kind of working around all of the other tasks that might need to be done. But your own personal story, Adriana, like you've actually worked in the USA as well. So a lot of our clients are from the US. You can maybe relate to what it's like to be there.
Yeah, well, I know that our clients from the United States, while I was there, they need straight answers and they want to move forward. And also I know that maybe some procedures in the States are more easy, let's say,
straightforward,
than in France. So even for me as Colombian, when I moved to France, getting into the process of the visa was quite complicated. So I can relate to the feeling of doing all the process and the stress that it generates, not to know what to do, what to say.
What time can you call us? You know?
Exactly. The time difference. So I'm related to that, and also with my studies in France, also to work with people from different parts of the world. It's helped you to get to communicate according to the difference of the culture.
Sure. And it's such a big thing. Like for us, that's, I think, why we're successful and we're able to deliver this at such a scale, because we deal with literally thousands of applications. And we want to be able to deliver, obviously, such a wide range of service and a level of quality that people, not just because they've paid for the service, because, of course, they're worried. It's a worrying part of their relocation. So thank you so much, Adriana, for introducing the process. Pia de Saint Laurent, would you like I love saying that because it's a very fancy name in French. I have a fancy name in English, but Pia has a fancy name in French. Pia, obviously based in the London office.
Yes, I am.
Married recently to an Englishman.
Yes.
So very good English spoken from Pia with a lovely French accent still.
High pressure now.
Yeah, this is it. Absolutely. So Pia, you're an avocate à la cour in France, part of the 186 group.
Yes.
And originally you specialised in immigration law.
I think I can relate with what Adriana said. I did myself went through the same visa process, but in the UK. So I think I can also relate with the client's feelings about the proceedings, the stress of not knowing what to say, what to do, and I think it helps a lot to know the procedure even from another country, and even if the British and French procedures are very different, I think the stress is the same.
Not knowing.
Yes.
And it's a dream, and it's the relocation for them.
Yes.
I guess it's kind of, they've sold everything maybe.
Yeah.
I had a client this morning actually that booked in last minute. She sold everything she owns.
Yes.
And she hasn't even thought about the visa yet. So she's like...
Yes, it's a big project. It's a big project, and so I would say it's personal, but also sometimes professional, and this is where I am helping you. But I would say it's a very big teamwork. As I am dealing with the business visa, business purposes visa, I'm also dealing with Juliette or Adriana for the corporate, Juliette and Annabelle with the first contact client.
But this idea of business visas, let's talk about that more. Why? So one of the things that you'll have noticed over the years with French Connections in our evolution is that, of course, more clients, more cases, but also this need for legal support and background. And one thing that I've always said consistently over the last 6 years or so of doing videos is you can probably do a visa on your own for a non-working status. It's not that hard. In theory, there's a lot of people that do this, and certainly don't pay somebody that's maybe not in any form of legal administration or guarantees, because one big difference that we have at French Connections compared to any other law firm is that we are guaranteeing our process and procedures. So we have a delivered goods reapplication guarantee, and therefore that changes things quite drastically, and especially for business applications, though, you probably always would need a lawyer to help you. And that's when you come in, Pia, with your knowledge of specific applications.
Yes.
Tell us more about that process. What are the difficulties for a business visa compared to a normal one? What would you say?
I would say that the main difficulties maybe you cannot relate on just on the information available online. It can depend on the prefectures, so that's quite a big deal. So even if you're very aware of the procedure of the document, the supporting document you need to provide, it can depend on the prefecture, the delays, even the procedure.
We found that though, haven't we? That it's now really a requirement to contact the prefecture in which the client wants to move to in order to approve the idea. And that wasn't something that we'd necessarily do, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yes, for the carte de séjour entrepreneur profession libérale, you definitely need an opinion from the prefecture, a positive opinion from the prefecture.
Hang on a sec. Let's maybe explain to our audience what is a prefecture. I guess a prefecture is like a government body that we have regionally in France. So it is basically what these guys, once you're in France or whichever region you're based in, will be issuing official documents from. I mean, I think that's as far as we can probably explain it. People can Google prefecture and you can understand what it is. But essentially, this comes to play now in the profession libérale visas because there are different types of working visas.
Yep.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, but the prefecture, they deal with a lot of different, very different areas, permis de conduire, etc. But
there's loads of things,
but
and the renewals.
Is the administrative authority competent in the area where the person is going to be based or the business is going to be based? So that's why Pia said it's important to talk to the specific prefecture because depending
the
on
good
where
news
it
is, guys that are watching, and this sounds very complicated to you, is that essentially you have a chat with me, some member of our team. We will sort it out. Like that's really what we do is we find a solution. But the way that we operate compared to a traditional law firm, shall we say, is that because we've got these guarantees, because we've got this great team behind us, we've got all this flexibility, right? We can change. It's not going to cost the client any more money to change the status if you suddenly think, look, actually, we're going to change the application.
Or this option suits you better.
And we look after that. So that's the... But then on a day-to-day basis, you're then working from London. That's contacting directly clients on the business creation side front.
As soon as you or Juliet or someone else in the team tells me, okay, this client wants a business visa. It can be the carte de séjour entrepreneur profession libérale, but also maybe a passeport talent. I will contact them by email and then schedule a first call on Teams or phone, and then I will confirm the best option for them. So this carte de séjour seems perfect for your project. I will send the client a quite scary long list of documents, supporting documents they need to provide for the prefecture.
And we've also got Joshua and his team that will then help
of course,
draw the business plan.
For the business plan.
So we first do that in English. We do that document and they can edit it in English and then we'll put it into French and you will check it based on the viability.
This will support the client application for the prefecture and
hopefully you get thumbs up. And then you go through the visa process as normal, right?
Yes.
So I was preparing somebody for a visa application this morning that's gone through the business process. And then ultimately, the actual application itself is the same at the end of it. You still go to, if you're living in the US, you'll be going to a VFS Global Center, depositing the documents, and then it'll be going to the embassy. Typically, though, in your experience, Pia, and potentially also Adriana, where do you see that mistakes are being made? Because before we worked together with French Connections, you were doing this, just directly with clients maybe that would contact you or 186. So where do people usually make mistakes?
Maybe explaining their economic or work situation.
How clear it is.
Yeah, and maybe identifying what is the important information they need to provide in order to get their visa, because
it seems simple, but
but also because sometimes people give too much, and sometimes too much is not good. Sometimes it's like that, like when you are in a school test. Sometimes if you answer more than you are asked, then you lose. Sometimes
and if the file's been prepared properly, when we do it, we always get usually an opportunity from the government to upload something else that they might want, right? So again, not writing a long essay of saying how much you love crème brûlée and camembert and all of that kind of stuff is maybe not going to be.
But maybe sometimes that
Maybe
helps.
sometimes
that depends on a case basis. So
let's break that down maybe for the audience watching, because I'm just assuming that everybody knows this process because I talk about it so often. But a visa application, whether it would be business or visitor or remote working or whatever that might be, will have to happen in the country of origin or of residence of the current residence of the actual applicant, right? And there's either an appointment at a centre or at the embassy. That's kind of fair. But then in that process, Pia, do you think some embassies deal with the process differently than others, or is it variable? And like we had one in Colombia the other day.
An embassy.
Yeah, and so that's directly at the embassy. In New Zealand, it's directly at the embassy. In the US, it's with a company called VFS Global.
Yep.
In the UK, it's TLS Contact. So do you think there's the French guidance and rules are the same, right? They should be.
Yes, I would say they are the same. The delays might be different, but the rules are the same.
And
it should be the same.
And who is that then going through that process that's looking at that at the embassy? Will it just be like it's not the ambassador who looks at that process?
I
Do you
would
know?
say, an official.
It'll just be an official that's actually just reviewing it. So probably for people watching, making that very clear and easy to digest is important. Anything else that you think, Pia, that in terms of business, etc., that you've seen that's evolved over the last, 12 months, that's changed other than the prefecture requirements?
When I was about to answer about the mistakes, I would say the first big mistake I've noticed was just about the visa itself. Identify the good visa is the first thing you need to be sure of.
Well, this is a big thing. That's why, of course, I've got you guys helping me because, although I'm not a lawyer or I'm just a guy that's created a business and an admin process and a tech behind that and linking all of these things, we are definitely, the biggest in our industry of doing that at this volume, at this stage. The rules and regulations and the confusion, are we actually real? Like remote working, and most of the laws that were written for work on French soil, etc., were written before remote working was something. So, in theory, yes, you can, but there are then tax things, and Géraud would say to us, who's our chartered accountant, hey, no, the visa's okay, but actually you can't do that.
Actually, that's an important point, is that we talk a lot between us, and one of the important points is to talk to the client and get to understand what do they want.
Yeah.
How do they see themselves in France, and how do they see their business? Because sometimes when we go into that deep, let's say, is when Pia, for example, gets to identify, or maybe
actually,
this visa
this
doesn't work for that, but that works for that one.
Sure.
And better choose better the appropriate visa, or even for us when it's visitor and we identify actually, this is not a tourist visa, this is more like business, and we change.
And the good thing for the client here is that for us, guys, unfortunately, if you're not dealing with me and my wonderful team, then you're going to struggle. But the point being is that we've put that in place because we know we needed that flexibility. And the good news really is that there's no increase in cost, because that's what people are scared of lawyers usually, because it's always going to cost more money over here. I'm bringing fixed prices to a world and guarantees to a world where it is usually traditionally we don't really know how much this is going to cost. You've probably got a fixed idea or consultancy fees, but I think that's where we found before we had legal backing, people were worried of using or employing an immigration lawyer because they thought this might cost more and more money. But traditionally, you would have to if you didn't have that big kind of setup, I guess. But in general, I think the reassuring factor is that people that are doing this on their own can also succeed, but then the risk that can arise is that you end up with the wrong visa once you're actually in France, and that non-renewable type. I mean, we cover visas a lot, but there are also other things that you got to consider, right? It's all of the change of statuses. That's, of course, where you're going to come in as well. Those become more complex.
Not really. You just need to be aware of the rules, the supporting documents.
So a change of status is you've come in as a tourist, for instance, and you're now going to run a gite. Well, you got to do something about that, right? So you got to start the whole process again, really.
Yeah, I would say like you need to be aware and anticipate as much as possible. Like as Adriana said, I think like knowing what the client wants, even like in 3-5 years, it's very important because sometimes they just want to. Yes.
Well, I guess that's the unusual thing with us as well, isn't it? Because we're doing this whole package. So we're not just focusing on one problem. We're doing the whole. I guess that's the different problematic for our clients that are so attached to this whole all-inclusive concept, really, which is great because we get this opportunity to help them throughout. It's not just the visa that we're helping with; it's all of their relocation, which must be quite a bit of a shock. Which is my next question: how have you find it, guys? I'm like working with us over the years and like becoming more and more involved in the business. How have you found it? It's not a trick question.
No, we say easier and very nice because if I don't have the answer, like I'm pretty sure like Juliette, Adriana, Annabelle, or Julia will have. So that's very.
There's such a volume as well, isn't there?
Very reassuring. We can share like our experiences, and it's very helpful for the clients too. Like.
Yeah, I think it gives like a more close connection with clients. Like you get even a little bit excited about their own plans. Like I have never seen these people, but then I'm excited because they're coming to France because they dream to be in the south of France because of the weather.
Yeah.
So
it's a dream. To conclude on the whole process between visas and residency applications and anything in between, what would be your top tips for people that are trying to do this alone? By the way, we do, guys, have a basic package where you can just get us to check your application if you don't want us to actually do the full process. We've created that really because we want to give people an opportunity that maybe don't want to spend as much money with us, but to actually have the resource of our team, and we can then tell you what's potentially wrong before you file your application. But coming back to that, what would be the top tips?
I would say anticipate as much as possible and identify the good visa.
What's the right time to start the process?
Well, I would say months.
Yeah, 6 months before is a good time to start.
Yes.
And for business, maybe even before that, right?
Yes, because it's always helpful if a client...
And the préfecture maintenant.
Yeah, but it's always helpful if a client contacts us and says, okay, I was thinking about this. My business plan is not ready yet, but I have this in mind. And so we know where to go with him.
explain the goal of the trip.
To us, yeah.
Yeah, like let us know really what's on your mind. It's gonna remain between us.
Yes. Entre nous. Like the podcast.
Like the podcast. But actually, that honest conversation will allow you to really point you in the right direction. But also for yourself, like when you're checking online, because that was the question about if you're going to do it in your house.
Yeah.
Really, like Pia said, like put out loud, because if it's a business, then what do I need for my business? Or is really I'm just going to do for pleasure of traveling? And then out loud that. And in advance, then if it's just for traveling, then where am I staying?
Check the right insurance policies.
Very important. The insurance is very important always. But also, if I'm going to set a business, that what kind of business? Because actually, I believe for business visa, you need to start on advance, like a really more long time in advance, because that depends on the activity you're thinking of. There are some activities that are really fast forward. There are other straightforward, thank you. But there are others that maybe take a little bit more of steps, so you need more time, more preparation. And the same for tourists is more like, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? I'm gonna stay in the same point, like. So you have to take into consideration where am I staying, because you will need an address for your visa form.
There's 3 points: the place to live, the income, and the medical insurance. Really are the usual common mistakes, right? Those usually, I think, but less so. There's so many podcasts with me saying to people, you've got to do those 3 things. So people are now aware that those 3 things have to be covered. I think that's fairly widespread. But it's more than how do you prepare the file properly, I think. Ladies, thank you for both coming today. Thank you for being on camera and on the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for all the hard work as well, guys. And thank you all for watching this podcast. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to check out our socials, Instagram, LinkedIn. And of course, if you want to book a consultation, FrenchConnectionsHCB.com. Leave any comments below for any questions, and we look forward to seeing you soon on our podcast. Thanks for watching.